Welcome to another episode of the Refined Peasants podcast. I'm Wyatt.
I'm Garrett.
I'm Nick.
Alright, let's get after it.
Alright, today we're just kind of going to go around the basic current events. We're going to try and stick mostly on the pipeline and Biden's future made in America he's trying to push. So,
Yeah, but this is like the second podcast we're recording. I'm like 3 beers deep, so we're going to get off in the weeds, I'm sure.
Yeah, this is going to be a very interesting podcast about a lot of things. So, buckle
just
up.
whatever the fuck we feel about talking about, right, Nick? So, do you want to get Theodore Roosevelt out of the way?
I mean, he was a great guy.
Is that it? I expected more. You disappointment.
All right. Well, if you really
Nick,
want
I was kidding. Stop.
His son is the only one to die while president. While he's the one in office, he died.
It wasn't his son, was he?
It was one of the Roosevelts.
Theodore Roosevelt had a...
Actually, no. Roosevelt's son died during one of the wars. World War II, I believe.
Theodore Roosevelt had a Bigfoot encounter.
I don't
No, I know you're talking about the Obama story. He did not have a Bigfoot encounter. If you want to have this discussion
Bigfoot's
later,
not real, so he couldn't have had a Bigfoot encounter.
God damn it. Where's your sense of wonder?
In real science, that's where it is. Not in make-believe.
Okay.
If we want to talk make-believe, that can be interesting, but...
we can talk about the Obama story
later. We
later.
want to talk about Islam religion? We want to talk about make-believe?
Do you know they believe in the same God as us, Garrett?
Well, I don't know.
We
about
just
that
covered they're all descendants of Abraham. They believe in the same omniscient person.
I mean, yeah, it's the Abrahamic God of Abraham, but it's a bit of a stretch there. Anyway.
I mean, they got Muhammad.
Anyway. He's not a god.
I shouldn't start off by intentionally being offensive, but I thought it would be funny.
Don't know much about history.
Wyatt looks so irritated.
Time to talk about
damn it,
the pipeline.
I wanted to talk about a cultured podcast, and I brought you to one.
Anyway, so the pipeline, the Colonial pipeline, which is responsible for most of the gas in the entire eastern half of the Mississippi.
Yeah.
And
so from
most of the coast and the south. Yeah. So it got hacked, and it was shut down for a short amount of time. But
a week? Was it a week? Was it less?
It was less than a week. But enough time to... So basically, gas stations only buy gas from the pipeline when they need it. And whenever you have a week where you can't refuel, that really kind of sucks the supply chain, right?
Yeah, so they had gas lines all over the East Coast. They had people storing gas in, let's see, plastic bags.
Yep.
I saw one dude putting it in, well, it may have just been a meme, but it was, she was trying to fill a clothes basket, you know, with the fucking holes in it.
With the holes in it?
Yeah. So we got some good memes out of it, but Russian hackers hacked an American gas pipeline. That's not good.
Right. And they paid them off. About $5 million in U.S. cash and about $45 million in cryptocurrency. Because, that won't incentivize anything, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll never do it again after getting a $50 million payout.
And no accountability.
Yeah.
So, what do we think about that first? Them paying them off.
I mean, so working in IT, somebody clicked a phishing email and opened a link that they shouldn't have done opened. And that's why it's important to train your departments. Because one malicious link, we are always one malicious link away from something like this.
Well, I don't know. Nick, what do you think about them paying off the hackers?
I think that's dumb. Paying off a hacker.
Okay.
We don't negotiate with terrorists.
Yeah. Well, they're not the government. So.
Well, terrorists aren't the government sometimes, but we still don't negotiate with
them.
So
that Palestine is.
Well, yeah, Palestine's a bunch of terrorists, but they elected Hamas.
Right. But I'm saying the government is the one where that comes from. The government's not supposed to negotiate with terrorists, which we do anyway.
That's true.
So, it probably wasn't good to pay the hackers, because you've basically told hackers around the world that we will pay you instead of fight you, because it's technically easier financially to pay you than fight you.
Well, and how is a corporation going to fight them? And this is a group of Russian hackers, and the U.S. government came out and said, we're going to let you guys handle it.
Yeah, what are they supposed to do? Go to war with Russia?
Yeah, tell them to quit. Tell them to knock that shit off.
Well, it's not the Russian government doing it either.
How about you get a lockdown on these fucking hackers?
But how are you going to what are you gonna do? Invade a sovereign country?
Nah, we have drones. What happens to ice when you hit it with nuclear weapons? Because it's not a glass floor like sand.
I'm not entirely sure, but I'm not sure that that's the best solution either.
No, we're not going to nuke Russia over $50 million. I'm just saying, you probably shouldn't have paid them. Now, you're a private business. They were losing a lot more money than they ended up paying them, right?
Right.
So it was an economic business decision. I just don't like the precedent it sets. Like you said, like now terrorists, or not terrorists, economic terrorists, right? But
yeah,
hackers,
cyber terrorists, yeah.
Hackers all around the world are going to be like, oh, hey, now we're just going to shut down your pipeline, and apparently a quarter of your country is going to shit the bed and turn stupid, and you're going to pay us $50 million.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's I'm not saying that it's going to be frequent, but yeah, it's definitely a possibility. Because this isn't an easy hack to do. So, I mean, it's not going to be as frequent as some people think, but I don't think it's a good idea to pay off people who are, terrorizing people. So the reason... They're not getting called terrorists for some reason, and I think it's because they don't have a political agenda.
Yeah, they just wanted money. They
did
it for the lulz.
Yeah, they did it for the memes or something. I don't know. But, gosh, I mean, so, like, should Biden have done something different?
I don't know, so I wouldn't expect the government to pay it off, because it's a private corporation. The private corporation got hacked, and the pipeline is owned by them, too. Mm-hmm. So it should be financially, if someone's going to pay them off, it shouldn't be the taxpayer. It should be the corporation. As far as what else Biden could have done, I mean, I don't know. I guess it's advertising for his infrastructure plan if he were to add on cybersecurity.
Huh. I haven't heard that.
No, I haven't heard that either. I'm just saying, like, that, if it was a smart man who's like, this is why we need an infrastructure bill to increase cybersecurity.
Well, we need an infrastructure bill because we need decent infrastructure. So, like, you can't have roads where you...
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, you pick the hot topic and be like, this is why we, you turn everything to what you want.
Right.
But I really don't... I don't know what else I expect Biden to do.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else Biden was supposed to do, but I don't know if nothing was necessarily the best thing to do. But I really don't know what he was supposed to do. Because, like, it's not a security failure on the government.
Right. It's not their responsibility, nor is it the responsibility of taxpayers. But it does affect taxpayers.
Right. Well, I think if you asked people in, like, North Carolina, they would be like, it damn sure is the responsibility of the government to protect our pipelines because I don't have gas now.
Right.
So I think taxpayers, depending on where you ask, they'll tell you, even if they're Republican, they're going to be like, well, Biden should have done something.
Yeah. I just don't... I don't know what you expected him to do. Like,
it also looks weak as a president if you do nothing as another country hacks one of your companies.
I mean, the only thing he could do is have military return hack Russia.
Well, it's not the Russian government.
It's not the Russian government doing it.
It's a pair of, like, Russian hackers.
So now, are the hackers funded by the Russian government secretly?
Well, that's the thing, because we know you can't go to Putin and be like, hey, arrest these guys, because Putin's going to be like, oh, sure, wink face,
You mean hire them for my cyber terrorist team.
You mean give them a raise? Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. That one's pretty old news, though. But
it sucks to realize how vulnerable, I guess, modern American life is. You shut down a pipeline for a few days, and the whole East Coast loses their fucking mind.
Right, yeah. I mean, some places might even still be out of gas.
Yeah.
Because there's...
I know Alabama is out of gas. A few states are out of gas.
Yeah, so they tried to do, like ship them on, like, oil tankers, like, on trains. There's too much gas needed. Like, that was not even a Band-Aid. That was, like, a corner of a napkin that you threw on a artery wound. Like, it didn't stop any blood.
Yeah.
So...
I mean, props to him for at least trying to find a different solution. But, so, transporting a liquid consumes more energy. That's one of the big things with rockets, like deep space rockets. because you have to carry fuel to get you that far, but liquid hydrogen's heavy, and it takes, the heavier you are, the more fuel it takes, and it's just an endless thing, you know?
Right.
I props to Biden. I don't think it was not props to Biden, but I don't think it was the responsibility of the American government to do anything. I think it's the responsibility of that private corporation to have better god dang security when you fuel the entire East Seaboard.
They'll tell you there's no financial incentive
To be secure? I bet there is now. You're going to keep paying $50 million, and the next one's not going to be $50 million.
Yeah, they're at this point, they were just seeing what they could get away with. Probably.
Yeah. And but the company said it cost us less money to just pay them. The hackers around the world are going to be like, oh, well then I can charge you more.
I can charge you up to this amount.
It starts to make it a ransom, and every time it's going to be more. They're seeing how far is a company willing to pay.
So how much money are you willing to lose? Just gone. No investing, no profit margins, nothing. And
let's be honest, you're already that company's already making a net loss.
Oh yeah. They lost hundreds of millions on this pipeline being shut down.
So it's kind of like another stab in the wound.
Well, so like I said, if they lost hundreds of millions just from it being shut down, I'm asking for hundreds of millions in ransom.
Right. Because they'll pay it to cover what they lost.
Yeah. And it's just, it sucks. I don't know what to do about it, but they are, like you said, they are, at least maybe they're incentivized now to update their IT security.
I mean, we'll see. I mean, probably, like, a lot of this could just be solved if they just didn't open stupid links or... I don't know.
Don't open suspicious emails, people.
Because that's how you get hacked.
You say that. So some of these emails are getting a lot more creative. Like, they look like legitimate emails.
Oh, it does. I mean, some of the emails look, legit. But when it's got Russian characters in the email, maybe don't open it.
Well, I don't know that they were that stupid.
No.
This isn't like some Nigerian prince saying you're his cousin.
I understand, just, you gotta be careful. You can't just open willy-nilly links on your work desktop.
Well, at one of my jobs, we weren't allowed to open emails not from within the company.
Yeah. Which
makes it pretty hard if you're trying to get into contact with someone from within the company, because you can't email them through their company email. And I had to end up finding a phone number, but that's a pretty aggressive spam filter,
Right.
Anything not in-house, it's like, whew. But I'm sure it saves them security-wise.
Right, was that your finance job?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. How much money are you trading hands with?
Yep.
I mean...
Exactly, yeah.
And hopefully, like I said, hopefully there are at least stricter protocols, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't want it to happen again.
This is a great learning lesson for people.
Yeah. It's a $50 million lesson learned.
Well, I hope
hopefully.
I hope so. I hope they just didn't, pay them off, the pipeline gets fixed, and then they're just like, okay, now let's go back to doing what we were doing. I hope they at least learned that there are ways we can prevent this again.
Right.
Now, whether or not they do it is one thing, because money's going to be what talks to them, and if it costs too much, they're just going to be like, we'll just take our risk.
Then they're going to get hacked again. Anyway.
Yep.
That's something stupid that happened in America. We got hacked by Russians.
Nice.
Who weren't even government hackers, who were just doing it for the
Could be
lulz.
teenagers for all we know.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, teenagers definitely have a good grasp on technology.
Yep. Is that about it on that one?
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah.
Okay.
It's super sucky, but they're not a lot to do about it now.
Yep. Yeah, that one's pretty settled, so I didn't think that one would take very long. Biden had a thing with Ford a few days ago, and basically he's trying to incentivize Ford instead of producing all their new electric fleet stuff here or in China. He wants them to produce it in America. The problem is, it's a little bit more expensive to do it here in America.
It's a lot more expensive to do it here in America.
Because we have things like
child labor laws,
health insurance, and unemployment benefits, and 401ks. China doesn't really have any of that.
China's got lots of kids.
So the labor's a lot cheaper in China. So Biden said, well, I'll tell you what, Ford... And it's not just Ford. Ford's just the only one he's officially agreed to right now.
Yeah, so the Ford Motor Company agreed to build exclusively the F-150 Lightning electric here in America.
Right. Well, it's going to be their whole new series of electric cars too.
Mm.
So from now on, if it's like a Ford electric car, it's going to be built here in America. The batteries, everything, is going to be built somewhere here in America. And the idea behind that is that it sort of takes away jobs from China. It puts jobs in the U.S. And that's about it. So like we gain more, China loses out.
Subsidized by the government to recoup the losses they're taking by building in America.
Right.
And so this is part of his Made in America plan.
Future Made in America plan.
Okay. I don't. Government subsidies are necessary in a lot of different fields. I don't know how I feel about it. I mean, shouldn't the government own Ford Motor Company after the bailouts?
Well, Biden is a big part of that, but it was the VP when it happened. They don't own them now, unfortunately, because that'd be communism.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I'm sure that they definitely remembered that for this deal, though. The CEO, I'm sure.
It's like, look, we bailed you out.
We
need a solid now.
Yeah, exactly.
And that seems reasonable to me. Same thing with GM. I will say, if you're a stock, like if you're a day trader, you're trading on Robinhood, getting some AMC and stuff, I would definitely look strongly. This is not financial advice, but I would look strongly into like different infrastructure for electric car companies and stuff. So we live in Oklahoma, and there's not a whole lot of infrastructure for charging your electric vehicles. Like there's not a whole lot of charging stations and stuff like that. But a lot of motor companies now are coming out with electric fleets, like promising to be fully electric manufacturing by like 2025.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, damn.
I'm gonna wait for a solar powered car to be.
Well, I mean, electric powered car is kind of a solar powered car.
Maybe you have to recharge. Imagine if like you had just a solar panel enough to power the car.
What are you gonna do when it starts raining and your car dies? In Oklahoma, when there's a tornado 3 blocks away, like,
what are you gonna do when that happens in any car?
Get the fuck out of my car, like. But at least my other car could have kept driving.
Right, but I mean, I don't know. So like, this is. I mean, I think it's good. Like for one, I mean, it's like, would y'all say green energy is the future?
Yeah, we talked about this before. I think
green energy is the best way. This was our first podcast. We talked about green energy is the future, and anyone who tells you otherwise is lying to you.
Okay, so if green energy is the future, do you think it benefits or hurts America having the stuff for green energy built in America?
It probably benefits. So the problem is there's going to be a lot of. You're still going to have to buy the materials from China, specifically to manufacture the batteries.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think it's wherever they're keeping the Uyghur Muslims is where a lot of the minerals for.
It's probably in Western China.
Is where a lot of the minerals come from to make these electric batteries. So it's not like China's losing out on everything, but they are losing out on the manufacturing.
Mm-hmm.
Which is substantial, depending on how big. Ford's a big company, so that's pretty substantial. And if they're totally redoing their whole fleet, that's a lot of jobs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Imagine it's not just Ford. What if Chevrolet or GMC follow suit?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, like, hopefully we get all the other automobile manufacturers on board, too. And we can do the entire, like, green car, like the electric car thing. Hopefully we can do all that in-house.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Ideally. And I don't mean in-house as in, like, in North America, but secretly made in Mexico. I mean, like, in America. Like, we can make them in America.
And Detroit would be better.
Detroit, yeah.
Yeah, you could totally bring back Detroit.
Well, that's where the HQ is for Ford. That's where they had, like, the big event. I don't know that they're going to build it in Detroit, though.
I doubt it. Detroit's basically a ghost town now. Like
that's what happens whenever a million jobs pulls out in a week.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't... So my big thing with it is I would want to see our money go farther. So we're innovating the car designs in America. So the idea for the electric car obviously wasn't Ford's idea, but they are creating electric trucks, which is something that's pretty new on the scene and is going to be mandatory if electric cars are going to take over the world.
Mm-hmm.
You have places that need trucks, that need towing capacity.
Yeah, it's like, I want to see how these are going to perform next to a diesel.
Right. Well, I don't think they'll ever replace diesel.
Nothing's ever going to outpull a diesel.
No. Nothing.
I mean, just there's
So
no way.
let's be honest, gas ain't going to go away. Oil and gas is not going to
Well,
go away.
oil's definitely not going to go away. Gas is still going to run your lawnmower, your weed eater, probably, until they perfect smaller batteries for the electric versions of those.
Water-powered cars.
I
almost did that.
That's a funny story. I actually drew up a hydrolysis
They had
powered car.
They had a guy who had the whole thing planned out, but he mysteriously died on a mountaintop.
Yeah, that was a long time ago, though.
Yeah, but he before his patent was released, before he had a patent.
That sounds about right.
Clintons were around.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
But
so you're worried about us spending too much?
Yeah, I'm worried about the actual net gains.
it's going to drive up the price of all vehicles.
Not if it's subsidized. That's the point of the subsidy.
To keep them down, but they're subsidizing the labor costs.
Mm-hmm.
So they would be in theory they'd be charging the same as they would be if they had the jobs over in China, which
No. They would. So they're probably. So Ford's not completely immune here. They're going to fork a little bit of a bill, but they're getting a lot in subsidies, and it's really good for image to have Made in America, especially whenever they're the first ones.
Yeah.
But
I mean, first company to make a car, now the first one to be made in America again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's
good publicity. You're right.
It's great for advertisement.
Yep. And that's, I mean, them switching to they're trying to be full electric by like 2035, something like that.
Yeah.
Especially how COVID's been, creating jobs here in America would be great.
It's really important right now.
Mm-hmm.
Now the other side of that would be getting people to take the jobs, but
Biden's got a new plan for that. With the if you're given a job and you're unemployment and you reject it, you lose unemployment benefits.
And that's a good plan. But as far as staying on, like I said, like we all agreed, electric's definitely the future. I think keeping it in-house and gaining the experience with American manufacturers is probably a good thing. It's going to cost everyone more money. It's going to cost the government more money because they're subsidizing it. It's going to cost probably a little bit more to buy the electric cars, but the electric cars were always going to be kind of pricey. Mm-hmm. I mean, look at a Tesla. But it is probably more of a net gain to keep the jobs here.
Oh, yeah.
I would say.
Especially when compared to if we don't do it, instead they manufacture in China, and China makes more profit.
And then COVID 2022 comes out, and we don't have any electric cars.
Right.
But, like I said, I'd be interested to see the net gains we get from something like this, and see how it actually pans out. But you can't do that without actually doing it, and seeing how it works. So, why not try it with Ford?
Yeah, well, you know Ford's not going to mess it up. They're the only car company in America, that's not true. Tesla did it too, who's never been bankrupt. Ever. Not through the Great Depression, not through the Great Recession, nothing. They've never declared bankrupt.
Yeah.
General Motors has, Buick has. This is strictly American companies. I don't know the other.
Dodge? I don't think Dodge was around during the Great Depression.
Maybe, but they've at some point declared bankruptcy.
Well, either way.
So,
I guess it's if you're gonna
Ford's not gonna mess it up.
Well, they're not gonna give more subsidies to Tesla because Musk has already taken us to Mars,
and he's already getting enough.
Yeah, he's drowning in subsidies right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, what do you think, Nick?
I think it's a good idea, especially with COVID, with how it's on the tail end, and it's going to create a lot of jobs for people.
All right. My only concern with it is this Made in America idea. It is really romanticized because, everyone daydreams about, it used to be made in America, it used to be made, it sounds all well and good until you're paying 10 times as much as you did for the same thing.
Y'all have seen the Family Guy episode where Brian becomes a Republican and replaces all the Rush Limbaugh stuff with Made in American, and it all just starts breaking.
Oh yeah,
because we haven't been making stuff in America for a long time. We just forgot how.
Well, and see, that's the problem is
So if you look at stuff made back in like the 50s and stuff, it was meant to last you a lifetime.
well, companies took pride in their innovations.
Yeah.
And pride in quality.
Yeah, and we've gone away from that. I would love to see that come back.
Yeah, I think everybody would. That would be a huge net gain for Americans if we could just change the corporate mindset from, keep consumers buying to build once and build long.
That's how you got a lot of loyalty from your customers. They would keep buying Ford because your car would never break down as much as a Chevy or a General Motors.
Right.
It lasted longer, and you basically got a loyalty on that because it's like, well, this lasted me 20-something years, well, this one only lasted me 5.
So the problem is, part of that's on purpose. Companies have found out that they can charge you
it's like
for
iPhone
repairs or for, like if they build a less quality ladder, right? Like how often do people buy ladders nowadays, It's because, you don't really, it's pretty hard to break a ladder, right? But if all of the ladder companies build them just less quality and you had to rebuy a ladder every couple of years, the ladder companies make more money.
Right.
It's like
that's
iPhones.
What I was gonna say. It's like a consensus between all the car manufacturers is, it takes you about 7 years to pay off a car. It's going to last you right at 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, that's shit, Whereas the old cars, they're 69 Mustangs and Camaros still on the damn road. Now, that's not to say they don't ever need work, but...
I can go pull out an old 1949 Chevy truck, and I can get it running perfect.
Yeah.
It's like that was...
Well, part of that's engineering, part of that's not just... But the parts are all solid.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've worked on vehicles, and so many different pieces of your cars now are just cheap plastic doohickeys. And it's a pain in the ass. And I really would. Like Nick said, I'd like to see the made in America spirit
where we took
come back.
pride in what we made.
Well,
Right.
we used to. And then what do you guys think changed?
Corporations realize they can
corporate
make more
greed,
money.
yeah.
So the amount of money is what
I think when Apple discovered it, people would rather keep buying a new iPhone every time theirs glitched out because of too many updates.
Yeah.
So how do you
That's why.
how do you fix that?
I don't know. You can't enforce... People would just have to stop buying inferior quality. The problem is everyone's making the same inferior quality.
Exactly. So what are you gonna do? Just not drive then? You know what I'm saying? Like it's not.
I don't know what you can do about it.
So that's why I'm scared Apple's coming out with their cars.
It's like
$3,600
for the car, tires sold separately.
No, it's basically
$4,000.
No, it's basically like, I got the brand new Apple. Oh, they're coming out with the Apple Car 2, and you're driving 60 mile an hour, they go straight to 30.
It's amazing that Apple just slid that right on by.
What's that?
100% confirmed they slow down older devices as newer ones come out.
Oh yeah.
They manually slow down your data connection on older devices.
Yep.
To encourage you to buy a new phone.
Mm-hmm.
And that is fucking trash.
Unfortunately, it's not illegal.
It should be.
Well, I mean,
the idea of capitalism is if people are willing to buy it, then you got a right to sell it. But the issue again here is that everyone's kind of agreed, we'll just make shit quality and make more money.
Yep. Well, I mean, what else are they supposed to do in this? From their
Be
perspective,
decent people like
for
they were
this,
back in the day.
but it cost them money. Cost them real money.
No, it cost them profits.
Yep.
But they're already...
Because why would you buy the newest iPhone when yours is working fine 5 years into it?
So it'll cost them zeros in their bank account.
And that's all they care about.
And
the problem here is human greed.
So I think we're under the impression that they care about the quality of their product or pleasing their customers. They do not. This is about zeros in bank accounts.
Right.
And
I'd agree with that. And
that's why they moved to China in the first place.
Yeah, was to pay less to sell for the same price and make higher profits.
Right. So they didn't lower the price when they moved to China.
Right.
They just added zeros to bank accounts.
If anything, they made it more expensive.
Yeah, they can always get away with charging things more expensive because they can just cry inflation every year.
Yeah.
And they're like, see, inflation went. Well, your profit margin went up by more than inflation. So what's the deal here?
It's human greed is the issue.
Yeah. Well, so why do you think we didn't do that back then? So why did
Nationalism?
Ford take pride in in building a better vehicle for customers to have.
I mean, nationalism, personal pride.
What did nationalism have to do with anything?
Everyone wanted the best things to be made in America. Now nobody cares because we'll buy it from wherever in the world.
I don't know that people even want... So back then, like, there wasn't another option other than to build in your own country.
You're giving Ford too much credit. Ford really didn't care. Like, his favorite thing is like, well, what if a customer wants it in blue? He goes, well, he can have it in one or two colors, black or black. That's it.
Yeah.
Or it's like, the other reason he made a weekend, like, you got off on Saturday was so you could go buy a Model T.
And have more time to leisure drive.
It was literally just to make him more money. That's the only reason Ford cared about it. That's the only reason
But we're not talking about, like, his social policy ideas. We're talking about what made him want to build cars that lasted.
Because all he had was metal. You didn't have plastics, really. So all you built it to last, because otherwise no one would buy your product. No one would buy something that's a piece of shit that lasts 2 years. So you had to prove to people...
Plenty of people do that now, where we buy pieces of shit that last 2 years. And
it became the normal. It slowly started integrating into our society, and now it's just the normal thing to do.
Okay.
So it's a cultural problem, too? Yeah. And so it started with corporate greed, and then became a cultural issue.
They basically just said, oh, it's just how...
Because the answer is that Americans just stop buying for shit.
It's basically like, well, why is this part plastic now? It's like, oh, because it's cheaper, meaning it's less cost on you. And people said, oh, I don't have to pay as much. So I'm willing to take lesser quality as long as I don't have to pay as much. And and that just snowballed into, oh, I don't care as long as it doesn't cost me that much. So corporates knew this and said, I can get away with this.
Yeah, they are. The biggest cultural issue is, I think, that the fact that it's not a cultural issue. Because I really don't think people care if a product is made in America or where we innovate. But it very much matters, especially if you're if you care about American dominance, it matters.
Yeah, because America likes to share its technological innovations with its allies. Not everybody around the world feels the same way. If China develops a new laser that can shoot, can shoot nukes out of the sky, they ain't gonna share that with the U.S. Now, on the vice versa, if the U.S. developed it, we for sure ain't giving it to China neither. But we would give it to the U.K.
I can see that.
I think we would share it with our allied nations.
Yeah, I can see that. But so. The reason this is important is because it directly affects China.
Yeah, fuck China.
And that's a battle we don't want to lose. Sadly, I think we're going to eventually. Probably within the three of ours lifetimes. But
I don't think we ever lose to China.
Well, Americans won't ever admit it. Even if it was obvious, they wouldn't admit it. But, that's... Unfortunately, it won't matter at that point.
Yeah.
But I think in our lifetime, China will be the economic superpower, probably the influential superpower. Now, they're not going to care about stuff like the Middle East. China doesn't care. But we can't let them. We shouldn't just simply allow them. We should probably try and fight it and just drag it out as long as possible. And this is one way they can do it. So, like over 80% of green energy stuff is manufactured in China.
Yeah, well, part of that again is because they have the minerals to do it.
That's true. But do you see how the future is being kind of relies on them manufacturing it?
Right.
So we kind of need that in America instead. And I think that's what the plan does, and that's what I like.
And the problem is China can get you the same product.
The issue is the government can't subsidize everything.
Not for lack of trying, though. Let me tell you.
The problem is you can get products a lot easier in China. So like steel. The reason the steel company went out is because why go buy American steel that costs a lot more and you go to China steel and it's the exact same thing.
I'm not saying it's not going to cost more money to build in America. It will. But at the price of American dominance, I'd say it's okay.
But you're assuming that this leads directly to America staying dominant. And
it'll help. Because, the alternative is they continue building in China, and China has complete control over the production of the future.
Manufacturing in China is not going to go away. They have the cheapest labor force in the civilized world.
Yeah, and I'm saying, so, like, we as America, sticking up for Americans, should probably manufacture in America for the future. So that way it's something that... So, like, the Ford jobs went away because of cheap manufacturing in China. Because the government wouldn't subsidize it. So they lost out on millions of jobs. That's why Detroit is the hellhole that it is. Because, I mean, you took away...
all the jobs overnight, virtually.
Exactly. If you decide to build green energy jobs, those are jobs that'll last a generation.
Yeah.
So they're not going away. These aren't technically not even temporary jobs.
Right.
So...
and you are outsourcing the jobs to a private corporation through subsidies.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's not like the government's in control of everything here. They're just trying to keep stuff made in America, and it's investing in our future. Like, it's hard to find a bad spot about that. Oh, and it's paid for. I don't remember what exactly, but it is paid for. Like, it's not like we're just going to add it to the deficit.
Which is a plus, but let's face it, no one really cares.
Yeah, no one cares, but it's true.
I don't... like I said, I would like to see the actual net gains of it, but, you know, it looks pretty on paper, and it looks pretty enough on paper that... and I'm not super worried about China, but I'm worried enough to start trying some new things to get innovation back in America.
You probably should be worried about China.
Yeah, I'm not. Communism has always failed.
It's not communism. It's an autocracy. So like, what's his name? It's X-I, I don't know his name.
Xi Jinping.
Yeah. He, so like he's in the Communist Party, but that's not Russian communism, what they're doing over there. And the difference is that the Russian people hated communism. The Chinese people almost embrace it.
When they hate communism, they disappear.
Well, that's the thing. So, like, they're more nationalistic than 1950s America.
Yeah.
And they're all on board on, okay, we want to be the world superpower, here's what we got to do. And if they're going to be the world superpower, that's something we should probably stand against. Because it's not like the UK is the world superpower.
Right, where we have a system of thought that is very similar.
Yeah. This is very different. We don't want China controlling the shots around the world.
Now, would this be the first time that an Eastern theology is not a theology, but an Eastern power was the top superpower?
No. China historically has probably been the world superpower. If you look at throughout all of time.
The Mongol Empire.
Yeah, the Mongol Empire is the biggest empire in the world. That's not Chinese, but...
yeah. It's Asian.
I know
it's Eastern.
Saying. Yeah. They were a little slow at figuring out modern politics. And Britain showed them what a real navy looks like, and that's why they died for a couple of 100 years. But now that they've learned how to play modern politics...
they're getting pretty okay at it.
They're getting pretty good at it. And that's why they're... I mean, they don't show any sign of stopping, and we don't show any sign of catching back up. So...
I can't remember where I heard it, but somebody... it was on one of my podcasts, but it wasn't a political one. But there are a couple of Australian guys, I think, and they were talking about how people around the world are looking at China and be like, look, you can't sustain what you're doing. Now, I don't know that I'm willing to take that gamble. I also don't have off the top of my head what exactly they said or who's been saying it. But I don't know, maybe it's my own ignorance and naivety that makes me want to think that America will never be toppled. Especially by China. The thing is it doesn't have to be war. They could just kind of take over.
Right. Yeah, so they're not going to do it by war either. They've got no reason to. It'd probably hurt them, to be honest with you.
Yeah, they ain't got a very good military.
Well, they also have no allies.
Right, they do have 1 billion people.
Yeah, Russia proved in 2 world wars, so you just throw enough bodies, when they run out of ammo, you'll take over.
The problem is you're not throwing bodies against other bodies anymore. You're throwing bodies against robots.
Yeah, they also got robots.
Our robots are better because they're made in America.
No, they're not.
Maybe.
Yeah, but how are you gonna make those robots if you don't got the material from China?
I do know that a couple military generals in the Trump administration, like they were doing war games about like what would happen if we went to war with China, and it don't look pretty.
Yeah, not right now. It's because our military, we're revamping it every year. So, but they just recently passed our Navy. They have more vessels now in the Chinese Navy, and they're all newer.
Yeah, that don't mean anything.
I mean, it means they got a lot.
I mean, Britain had a giant navy during World War II, and the Germans mopped the floor with them.
Yeah, but look at history, Nick. How is the British Navy looked at historically over the course of time?
I mean, John Paul Jones smacked him up and down the English Channel.
Yeah,
French smacked him up the English
Channel. You're not
Channel.
answering the question,
They're still, like, they were regarded as the best navy in the world.
Yes.
In the history of the world.
They still got the floor model. Just because you got a great
few
navy.
times. No country on this planet is perfect. I mean, shoot, we lost in war a few times.
I know Vietnam's pretty perfect as far as war records.
What do you mean?
I don't think Vietnam's ever lost a war.
Yeah, in a matter of just like a few decades, Vietnam beat us, China, France. And
They beat Britain, France, us, China. Hell, they beat themselves.
They beat the fucking UN.
Like, that's...
They literally did what the Koreans couldn't.
I don't care if they're just a bunch of farmers. That's fucking impressive.
Yeah, they're very dedicated farmers, damn it.
Right.
Yeah, we took our farmers, they took their rice fields and said, bring it on.
The point being that you regard the British Navy historically as the superpower navy. When Spain surpassed them, finally, it was the fall of the British Empire and the rise of the U.S.
Yeah.
So,
The problem is you really don't get sea warfare. So aircraft carriers are viewed more than battleships.
well, yeah, because we're not fighting with men as much anymore.
So your battleships are just there to flex muscle, while your aircraft carriers are actually there to put in the work. The only time we ever use battleship really is for bombardments. And, I mean, China, most of their cities are on the coastline, so bombardments would
I don't
work.
even think war with China... If we went to war with China, it would probably be because we didn't see another way out of losing dominance.
Yeah.
Because... So that's what's going to be the real test. So whenever it finally clicks with America that we've lost. And unfortunately, that's true. Empires, great countries, they all rise and fall. It's just natural. America will be no different.
Yep.
It's great to think that we would always be the world superpower and we'd just sit and sing songs, but unfortunately that's probably not true.
I was about to say, I'm sure Romans thought that circa... What was it?
BCE.
Yeah. We'll always be the world superpower. And then they fall to a bunch of Germans.
Right.
That they would previously, too. That they beat previously in previous wars.
Yeah.
It wasn't until they got comfortable or stretched too thin that they finally...
And...
Well, it's funny you bring that up, Nick, because what is America if not comfortable and stretched too fucking thin?
Mm-hmm. And see, that's the thing. So it's not really a if we're going to fall to China.
It's a win.
It's a win. And is it going to be our lifetime, or is it going to be, like...
And really, under what circumstances? Do we fall like Britain did, where Britain fell out of power and nothing really in Britain changed? They stopped having such a powerful voice in the world. Or do we fall like Rome,
So the problem...
where everything collapses?
So the problem is, I don't think we fall much in Europe.
What do you mean?
So we're still going to have a huge influence in the European theater.
In the West.
Yeah. The East we're not going to have as much, which we really don't have anyway. China does have the most influence there.
That's true.
So is it if we do fall to number 2, is it really going to change much? Because the Europeans are going to side with us 9 times out of 10, I believe.
Yeah, I think that's solid.
Yeah, so, it's not going to crumble America.
It's going to hurt egos.
It's just going to be a weird thing because we're no longer going to be able to say we're the number one country in anything anymore.
Yeah.
And that's...
We still
we've got military spending, damn it.
No,
we will always have more money.
We got a number of incarcerated people
per capita.
God damn it, don't you take that away from us.
Free.
I don't remember
Land of the free, home of the...
I don't remember what percent of the world's prison population we had, but it was staggering.
Yeah.
It was like 20%. I don't want to
people
throw a
up
number
for
out
stupid
there.
stuff in this country.
Oh, yeah. Well, drugs aren't stupid stuff, Garrett. Those are horrible people, and they deserve to be thrown in jail.
You're absolutely right, Wyatt. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
Nick had a good point. Like, how much does it really change America's standing in the world? Because China doesn't like us anyway. China doesn't listen to us anyway.
Yeah, we already butt heads with a few more headbutts.
And really, to force the West to start listening to China, it's gonna mean war. And that's not a war that China can win. Because everyone...
Not yet. Not yet.
Not at all. Ever.
See, so this is the problem. This is why... Why do you think we didn't go to war with Russia?
Well, no, I'm saying that... what I'm saying is that it wouldn't win a war against the entire West. The unified might of the West.
I don't know that the West would fight with us as much as you guys think.
Against Chinese... A totally new way of governing and thinking?
Well, it's not like China is like wanting to expand their empire.
Tell Taiwan that.
Well, that's a different ordeal, isn't it? And Taiwan's an island, so it's not very big. It's not like they want to capture India.
Hitler started with one country at a time.
Right. So it's the same reason we didn't go to war with Russia after World War II.
Oh, because no one wanted to go to war after that.
Well, Russia was ready to fight.
So,
Russia was planning for a fight too. That's
the only reason. That's the only reason we let them take Berlin.
And so Patton told us to go fight Russia because he knew how bad communism was. Eisenhower told him no.
Have you seen the conspiracy theory on Patton?
America's done with war. After Japan and Germany, the British were definitely done with war because they had to rebuild.
There was no fighting the Soviets after that. Number one, we may not have won.
So, have y'all seen the conspiracy theory about Patton and how he died? So he was very go to war with Russia right after the war ended, and no one wanted to. And then he just so happens to die in a car crash in Berlin, where he's, I think, the only casualty of that car crash.
If he'd have waited 10 years, he probably would have been the Secretary of War.
If he'd have waited 5 years after that, he probably would have been president.
So the problem was the conspiracy was that they had Patton killed because he had a lot of influence in the American people.
The Russians?
Not the Russians, the actual U.S. government, because the U.S. didn't want to go to war, but Patton had a lot of influence over the people because he just won them European.
Beat the fucking Nazis.
He just won the European theater, and he's about to go to the Pacific theater and do it again, and then gets into a car crash, and I think he's the only casualty of the car crash.
Damn.
I would find it more believable that the Russians took him out.
Russians are actually scared of Patton.
You should be.
Well, everyone should have been scared of Patton.
Patton was a very strict man.
He was the equivalent of Sherman, without the...
Hell, he didn't care if you had shell shock. You still went and fought.
Yeah, to him, PTSD was an illness that was fixed by more war. So,
there's a famous scene where
modern U.S.
a guy's in a medical tent and he's shaking and he goes, "What's wrong with you?" He goes, "I just can't sleep and all this." And he slaps him. He goes, "If you don't get out there right now, I'll shoot you myself."
Well, that's what Ulysses S. Grant did. He said, "You'll either die by Confederate gunfire or you'll die running away from me."
Andrew Jackson was the first, and he's the best at it.
Yeah, it's probably fucked up to do that.
No, it for sure is.
So the problem is we had no idea what shell shock was until World War I. And even then, we really didn't know what it was. We didn't know the full effects of it.
PTSD's probably for sure been around for as long as war's been a thing.
So it's always been talked about. I think it's been called medieval. It was the shakes. You just shook all the time. And World War I became heavily predominant as... You saw lots of things in war. It was the modern warfare, and you saw...
Is it anything really more traumatic than what the Romans saw in warfare against the
How would you like to feel you see your best buddies climb a 10-foot wall running straight into machine gun fire?
A lot more gruesome.
A lot gorier.
I mean...
And you were fighting in, World War I...
In trenches.
For years.
You
can't brutally hand-to-hand fist fight more than a few days. It will literally, you'll just die of exhaustion before anything else.
Imagine the mental case where if one whistle blow, you have to scale this 10-foot trench and then run straight past barbed wire machine gun fire to capture 50 yards.
No. Go ahead.
I'll give you that. Watching your buddy suffocate in mustard gas.
What?
It's probably different than watching him be run through with a sword.
So it's sleeping next to your buddy one night, and then the next night he's dead because he sank into the mud and suffocated.
So it's not so much that. It's not. No, it has nothing to do with the instances themselves. So watching your friend die, it doesn't matter how it is. If it's them getting their head chopped off or them suffocating in the mud or dying of trench foot, it doesn't matter. The difference is that in ancient Rome, you could probably fight for a few days max, and then you either won or lost.
So you're talking about exposure time.
So the difference is hold on, I'm not done. So trench warfare were literal years on the front lines with no breaks.
That's not true. They rotated.
But you were 300 yards back.
Yeah, you could
still hear the mortars.
You could go to Rome if you were a Roman soldier.
So the problem was, in ancient times, at most battles would last maybe 30 minutes because you couldn't fight longer because you got a heavy shield, heavy everything. You couldn't fight more than maybe 30 minutes. Really, even the Spartans couldn't last more than 45. So
tell the Persians that.
Battles were very short and quick, and they were more basically, I got more men than you. I'm just going to push through eventually.
I believe that. Like Wyatt said, it's probably exposure time to these tragedies.
Right.
Like, you're waking every night to shell fire. Hell, you got to be careful at night that an enemy doesn't come into your trench and just shotgun you all down.
Well, here's something that's, do you guys think war is a uniquely human thing?
No, animals fight for territory all the time.
I agree.
Yeah, I'd say so.
I think it's more predominant in humans because we have other factors such as greed.
It's a reproduction of life thing. Every living being on this planet wants more resources.
It's more territorial and like, I want what you have, so give it.
Yep.
We go to war for dumber reasons than animals.
Yeah.
Yeah, not food or water or shelter. We go to war for
oil!
Now, oil moved the world forward.
It's the only reason we hated the Ottomans, really, in World War I, because they had the oil that we needed for dreadnoughts.
Yeah, we got rid of probably what would have been, if they would have stayed together, they'd probably be our most useful ally right now.
The Ottomans?
Mm-hmm. If
they definitely keep the Middle East in line.
Well, I mean, they still are allies now, Turkey, but the Ottomans used to have a lot more land, and they're a secular people. They've always, like Turkey nowadays, it's predominantly Muslim, but their government is secular, if that makes any sense.
Well, the golden age of Islam is way different from modern Islam.
Oh, yeah. They're not as Sharia.
Yeah.
Like, women had the right to free speech in the Middle East up until the 40s. So.
And then something radically changed.
And then they said, you know what? This goes against the core tenets of Islam. So no more right to free speech. Or driving.
They pulled that out of Article 2, Section 3 of their fucking ass.
Alright.
That's still the funniest one-liner you've ever dished out, Wyatt.
What was that about?
Mitch. Yeah, it was Mitch McConnell about how a president in his last few months couldn't nominate a Supreme Court justice.
Yeah. So, when Merrick Garland first got selected for his nomination, Mitch McConnell said, "Well, it's a election year, and so that means that we have to wait until the next president, and then he'll seat the Supreme Court nominee." And of course, none of that's in the fucking Constitution. You just made it up. But
yeah.
But it is what it is. So I said that. I said, well, he pulled that right out of Section 1, Article 2 of his ass.
And it was, man, I was laughing. That was a good one.
That was good. Alright, so I think we're done on that one, right?
Yeah, we didn't get too heavy into the details of his Made in America plan, but I don't think he's released a whole bunch of details. I mean, I know, so the only other thing about it is that government agencies have to buy American.
Yeah.
So which is going to drive up the cost of government agencies functioning. But, whether that's a net gain for America or not, we'll have to just wait and see.
Right. So the next one, the January 6th Commission, just passed the House.
Yep. 35 Republicans voted for it.
Yep. We'll see how many in the Senate. I bet they get close to 60. It at least wouldn't shock me.
CNN's not optimistic about that, but
it'll at least get to 50 Democrats. I'm confident it'll pass.
Oh yeah, all 50 Democrats will.
And then even Joe Manchin for sure. I bet Mitt Romney votes for it. I bet at least a couple of Republicans come forward, but most. You said CNN wasn't very optimistic.
Mm-hmm.
Nick, do you know much about it? The commission?
So
you remember the riots at the Capitol?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they're basically setting up a commission to investigate what happened on that day.
Well, they stormed the Capitol. I can tell you what happened.
Right, but they're looking at it's like a Congress investigation.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what aspects of this they're investigating. I do think that this is specifically created by Democrats. They're doing it to wield it like a hammer all the way up until 2022.
Think so?
I do. Because there's already a federal investigation into the conspirators of the January 6th riots. They've arrested something of like 400 plus people.
They got 100 plus more, too, that they're going to arrest.
Yeah.
But,
so this isn't about criminally prosecuting the people who were there.
But so they'll tell you that the federal investigations aren't public. They're not public knowledge.
So they want to make it public. And the only reason to do that isn't because you want them punished. It's because you want to wield it like a political weapon. So
do you not want to know what happened on that day?
Like, it depends on what aspect.
I would want to know everything that happened on that day.
Like,
tell me
everything.
everything.
Up to it and...
Exactly.
Well, they already...
I would want to know whatever there was to know
Well,
about
some of these
day.
people talked about doing it on, like, the social media. They talk about...
Social media.
They talk about
yeah,
storming...
Trump planned the damn thing. Like,
he planned the rally. He didn't, but they said some of them said we should storm the Capitol.
well, he planned the march to the Capitol.
But that's not planning...
I mean, he planned the rally.
Wyatt just wants to hear that Trump was definitely responsible from all his Democrat buddies.
Okay, so let's... Okay.
He's not denying it.
Reality check here. Did Trump plan the protest at the White House? Yes or no?
He did.
Did he plan the march to Washington? They were moving the protest to a march on Washington. Did
Peaceful and patriotically protest.
Did he move the protest?
Yes.
Okay. I want to know everything post that. Okay? I want to know whatever caused it. Okay? I want to know. So there are a few questions. Why was the National Guard not called beforehand?
Why would you call the National Guard on a peaceful protest?
Well, so how do you know a protest is going to be peaceful?
Well, they didn't call the National Guard on a BLM.
I bet
they did. Yeah, yes, they did.
I bet
yes, they did.
Because BLM has a history of riots, whereas these people do not. Don't you think if you show up to a protest and there's armed National Guard members with a Humvee and a tank?
I'll be completely honest with you. I was not at all shocked whenever I found out that this was going to turn violent. I was watching it that day because I knew it was going to turn violent. I mean, if you look at people in the news, they were like, this shocked absolutely no one who was paying attention.
What?
We had told them for weeks that this kind of rhetoric would cause that. And I just want to know what happened. And I want it to be public knowledge, if we can help it. I don't think there's anything wrong.
So you're not even wanting the people responsible prosecuted. You're just wanting...
No, I didn't say that, did I?
No, you may want that, but what you really want is for everything to be out in the open.
Right, I want the findings of the investigation to be public knowledge. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
I think it's just going to be... It's just a political hammer that they're trying to use to keep the January 6th thing going all the way till 2022. And longer if they can help it. And I guess there's nothing wrong with investigating and trying to see... So are you going to do another investigation into Trump's rhetoric? Because you impeached him over it. And he was acquitted.
Yeah.
We'll
see.
Are we just going to keep...
What?
Are you just going to keep trying to blame Trump over and over?
He may not. The commission may find out he's not responsible. It's a bipartisan commission.
But Congress already found him not responsible.
Right, but that doesn't necessarily... So Congress isn't a legal thing. I mean, we'll see what the commission finds. Because what if they find, I don't know, a phone record? Or, I don't know, something. Like, I'm not...
You don't think that would have been pulled up in an impeachment trial?
Well, the impeachment trial was way too short.
Because they were trying to impeach him before he got kicked out of office.
Right. And
before the election.
And it was... Huh?
Before the election.
What do you...
No, this would have been after the election. I'm sorry.
This was after Joe was elected. This was January.
Yeah.
This was in, like, the final weeks of his presidency. It would have been too short to find a phone call. I want to know if... I just want to see what they find. I don't think there's ever any danger in looking ever. Benghazi had 36 hearings. I had no problem with that. I think it deserved every second of it. This deserves every second of it, too. They had Hillary Clinton testify for 11 hours. I have no problem if they want to put Donald Trump on the stand and ask him what happened that day.
Yeah.
Or the weeks leading up to it.
I'm gonna be sure. I don't care. I really don't. I think this is a political tool they're gonna use.
Was Benghazi a political tool?
Oh, for sure.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't about.
Like, it was a tragedy.
It wasn't about the truth or anything. You're saying that Republicans used it as a political tool to gain.
To expose the truth that Hillary Clinton let people die in Benghazi. Yeah.
Okay.
A place we shouldn't have been.
No. Because you said it was a political tool. It's not about the truth at that point. It's about we need
more than
power.
one thing. Like two things can be true at once.
No. Because if something's about the truth, you can't be political about it if you want the truth, right?
I don't think they want the truth.
Did they want the truth in Benghazi?
They probably wanted about the truth about what happened. Yeah.
Okay.
But they knew they could use it.
But they also knew that it would hurt Hillary Clinton.
I think so. Do you think it was more that, or do you think it was more about finding the truth?
More of that.
More of the political. See, and that's fair. And that you could say based off that that's what this is. But I'm telling you, I want the truth about what happened that day.
But you just said it can't be the truth if it's being used as a political tool. So if they are using it as a political tool, they can't be in search of the truth.
Do you think they're using it as a political tool?
Yes.
Okay, so from your perspective, that's right. But from my perspective, I don't think it's a political tool. 35 Republicans voted for it.
There are purple state Republicans.
They're still Republican. That doesn't make them any more or less Republican. Like, they want to see the fruits of the commission, and I don't think they should be denied that.
Okay. Like I said, I don't care. I really don't. They're gonna Orange Man bad for the rest of eternity.
That's true. That's going to be the mentality of Democrats.
So you just do whatever.
And let's be real, Republicans really won on this deal, right?
Yeah, the Democrats, which is part of what makes me think it's being a political tool. So the concessions given to the Republicans by the Democrats is so in the House. One of the I think it's in the Senate. One of the deals they made is that the Democrats basically get to pick all the commission seats. Like, you get to pick who goes on what commissions and what form, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Committees and stuff like that. Democrats get full power over that. But with this commission, the GOP gets half,
mm-hmm.
and they have total veto power on subpoenas. And the reason I think they did that is because if the GOP uses their veto power, then the Democrats still win because they get to be like, oh, look, Republicans are stopping this investigation because we wanted to interview this one person, and they said no. Like I'm saying, it's a win-win for Democrats because they get to beat you over the head with whatever they find on January 6th.
Well,
or they get to beat you over the head
the thing is, so Republicans can also pull out of the deal, but all that would do is make it a Democrat-only commission. So the commission doesn't die if the Republicans pull out. The Republican half of the commission is no longer there. So you basically just have double the workload, to be honest. And no congressman, I don't think, can be on the commission. So there won't be like Chuck Schumer or Nancy Pelosi on the commission. It'll have to be independent people. Probably staffers. So like if the Republicans get about halfway through the deal and they find, we as a party, like Mitch and Kevin McCarthy say, well, we can't be on the commission anymore because whatever reason. And the Republicans pull out, the commission doesn't go away. The commission just now has half the staff. And Republicans will lose their veto power. So I don't think the Republicans are going to pull out. I'm just very interested to see what they find.
I don't see a whole lot of harm in it. Really, they're gonna be bashing Trump all the way till doomsday anyway. And so it doesn't matter. And to me, I think a lot of people already have their minds made up about January 6th. Either you think it was Trump's fault or you don't. And I don't think there's a whole lot that's going to change that.
And it may not. The commission may find out that this was a conspiracy from within the people for a long time. And that would for sure acquit Trump of all responsibility, right?
Not to Democrats, I don't think. I think Democrats would still just... The people who are going to blame Trump are going to blame Trump, and the people who aren't.
I don't know that you have enough faith in American people.
I don't.
Do you think that we're all partisan, or do you think some of us want the truth?
I think very few of us actually want actual truth, and would be willing to accept it when it's in front of us.
You know, I could probably get behind that. I don't know that anyone
You may
wants the
you
truth.
may think you want it, and then you find out that the truth doesn't fit your conceived notions,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're like, well, that's obviously not the truth, when it clearly is.
Right.
Hey, the more they focus on Trump, the less they focus on DeSantis, and I'm happy about that.
I'm not. Trump thrives off the publicity.
Yeah, but DeSantis will win.
Damn it. Sorry, mosquito.
Yeah.
I-
DeSantis is going to have to choose between his governorship and his presidential run.
Wow, presidential run.
You think so?
Yeah, because I think the next 4 years of him being a governor,
He's got two. He's up for a race in 2022.
he can win that and then still run in 2024. So I'm saying, like, I think he's gonna... I for sure think DeSantis 2024 is gonna run. I think Governor Stitt's trying to run, too.
Shoot.
He's trying hard to get some national publicity, man.
He's not going to run.
Y'all see what he did with that billboard they put up about him? Peter did.
Oh, yeah?
Oh,
Yeah, and he had a barbecue cookout.
That
over
was
it.
funny.
That was
funny. So
free
Pete-
cookout. Free cookout.
If you don't know, PETA put up a billboard they called
It said
it's
what?
like home of Meathead Governor
Yeah, it
Stitt.
said "Welcome to Oklahoma, Meathead Governor Stitt."
Yeah, and,
And
he had a big ass. He pulled up a big ass grill and just started barbecuing.
And he had a
next to it.
free barbecue for anyone who stopped by.
Yep.
That's the best campaign you could ever have.
Yeah, no shit. I'll come to a rally that's got free barbecue.
Exactly.
Really.
Nick, what do you think of the commission?
I'm kind of like Garrett. I really don't care. I don't think they're gonna find much. I like you. I'd like to see what happened that day, but I think it was more of an internal thing that's people got to. One guy said riot, and the other said fuck it, let's do it. Storm the Capitol. It may have been planned. From what these people have been talking on social media before, some of them may be jokes or not. They did talk about storming the Capitol.
See, and that's more of what I want to know. Like, did this just kind of happen? You know, was this like a BLM thing where they were just marching, and then someone crossed a line and threw a brick into a window, and then after that all hell breaks loose? Was it like that, or was it a
Someone
conspiracy
threw soup for their family
from the start?
This is soup for my family.
You know, that's what I want to know. Was it
Now
a
watch
conspiracy, or was it a, did it from the jump? Was it like a?
Was
spur
it
of the
planned or was it?
moment? Exactly.
Which I guess could be fun to figure out. I don't know what they're gonna find. I mean,
Yeah. Okay. Next.
That pretty much wraps up my feelings on January 6th. So.
Yep. Do you think it'll? Do you think the findings of it? Do you think it'll hurt Republicans or affect them at all?
I don't think it's gonna matter.
Huh?
I don't think it's gonna matter.
You think it's gonna matter?
No, I don't think it's gonna hurt Republicans come 2022. I think if the Democrats are smart, they're gonna try to drag that commission out until right up till 2022.
Well, that's probably how long it'll take. It may take longer than 2022.
see, my thing is if they do find something on Trump, Republicans can't run him. Can't.
So the problem is he'll do the same thing he threatened to do in 2016. He's like, I've got a lot of support, I've got my own funding, I'll run as an independent. And then you split the party vote because 25% of Republicans would vote for Trump as an independent.
You think that little?
Yeah,
I think we'll.
especially come 2024.
Mostly just your cue.
Yeah, especially if they run DeSantis.
I'll tell you this: if he wants to run as a nominee, I think he's got it.
DeSantis?
No, Trump. If Trump runs, DeSantis won't win the nomination.
Sadly, no.
Yeah, he will.
I don't think so.
No, I think you're wrong.
We'll see. It's going to be a long time before then.
Yeah, and Trump's going to be out. Well, he's apparently not going to be out of the spotlight, but
We'll see. I hope he doesn't run. I hope Trump just calls it quits and just lives at Mar-a-Lago.
Yep.
In other news, we had a meeting with the South Korean ambassador today, and we're trying to now focus our next agenda towards the Asian part of the world, and we're trying to denuclearize North Korea.
Never gonna happen.
Yeah, not gonna happen.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think
I would
so.
like to see more action, personally, on the camps that North Korea has.
What are we supposed to do? You can't sanction them more than we do right now.
Sure shit can. You can cut
Well,
off.
I'm saying,
you
at
can
that
make,
point, you're just hurting more people.
You can literally make a blockade.
Well, it's become very clear that Kim Jong-un
doesn't give a fuck
doesn't
about
give
his
a-
people.
doesn't care, right?
And it's kind of proven that people really don't like him. Like,
Well, we know his people don't. No one likes to be oppressed.
well, there's a famous photo of like literally these women forcing to cry over Kim Il Sung, otherwise they get shot. You can literally see in the background they're holding the rifles.
Yeah, no, North Korea is a monster, right?
And I think we should go help. Personally, I think we shouldn't have stopped. Especially especially when China was on our side.
The fact is, if the U.S. wanted North Korea, we could go take it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, yeah, they got nukes, but they're not long range missiles.
The thing, as soon as Kim Jong Un pushes that button, though, he's done.
Yeah.
You drop a nuclear warhead, you're done. Because the world will be like, oh, you done fucked.
Yeah.
You done goofed.
Yep. If he drops a warhead,
Here
he's
comes
done.
the sun.
It's it's a deterrent. That's why he has nukes.
Yeah.
So that way we don't send land troops in there.
Because I don't put it past Kim Jong Un to let us send land troops, let us get to the heart, and then just nuke itself.
Yeah, he seems like the kind of guy who'd be like, if I can't have it, no one can.
Like I would not put it past him just to nuke his own place just to kill American soldiers.
I wouldn't put anything past Kim Jong Un.
I wouldn't either.
It's crazy kid with a toy.
But there's no way you persuade him to denuclearize.
Okay.
Absolutely.
No,
no
he'll just
goddamn
lie.
way.
He'll just lie.
What did Trump? What was the summit last time about?
I think it was about denuclearization. It was just to get him to stop throwing rockets over Japan.
No. It wasn't about denuclearization. Because that was the whole flack about it. I remember defending him on it. Because the whole thing was we went to a summit with North Korea, but we didn't talk about denuclearization.
No, because
we talked about him stopping the rocket launches.
Over Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's not...
Because Japan got
Maybe
fed
that's
up.
what it is.
Japan was about to go to war.
Yeah, well, I would too if Mexico was sending rockets over the whole United States, and even if they landed in the ocean, I would still be like, what the frick, Mexico?
It's like Mexico launching over Florida. Like,
well, it's a threat. It's a blatant... Like, you're just showing, like, look how far I can get my bombs.
Right. Now, granted, they're never going to reach U.S. soil.
No.
Fuck no. But
they don't have long-range stuff.
Gabriel, shut up!
But, I mean, like, what are they... I don't know. So getting them to denuclearize, I don't have a problem with going to the table, but the problem is going to be getting them to the table. I don't know what kind of pressure you're going to have to put them under.
There's no amount of pressure that's going to get Kim Jong-un to agree to get rid of his nukes. Because he knows if he does, he's done on the world stage.
He doesn't have really a place on the world stage now.
Well, he thinks he does, though. And
I don't think he's that stupid.
I do.
I don't think so. He's a world leader. He's not that stupid. You can't get that much power, even in your own country, and be that
you for
stupid.
sure can when you execute any other threat you have.
Right, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he's stupid, because he still has to know the threat, execute. I'm saying I don't think he's that stupid. I think he knows perfectly where he is.
In a homeland where he has the media forcibly worship him like a deity.
Yeah, they don't think he shits or eats.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of weird stuff they believe about.
They think he invented hamburgers.
Well, so number one, the people don't actually believe that. It's
but if
so
you ask them,
hold on. So if they held a gun at your kid's head and they said, "Did Kim Jong Un shit or did he invent hamburgers?" You're gonna say he doesn't poop and he invented hamburgers. So these people aren't stupid. They know he doesn't. All this stuff isn't real, but they know if they admit it.
Well, did you see the North Korean soldier who basically got shot running the South Korean border?
I believe it. Yeah, absolutely.
It literally just reminded me of when the Berlin Wall was getting constructed and the German soldiers said, fuck this, and then hopped over the fence and said, fuck that side. Because he knew that side sucks.
Yeah.
It's like, so... Like, I don't know how you're going to get him to denuclearize. I don't see how you're going to
I don't know what kind of trade you're going to have to make him.
It's going to have to be South Korea. That's the only thing I can see realistically.
If he got South Korea, for sure not denuclearized.
No, because now South Korea is going to be at the table. So, the South Korea won't allow that.
So the thing is,
I want your land. You can go fuck off.
So hypothetically, he could run into an Obama problem here, where like Obama comes back with this peace deal, and that every other one of our allies supports and agrees with, and they helped work with us on, and then we take it back, and he's got to split Congress, and Congress won't sign the fucking thing. And it's like, well, what do you do then? Well, you sign it anyway as president, is what Obama decided to do. Which presidents in the past have done. Mm-hmm. If they get a peace deal done, they're signing it with or without Congress's permission. So if he gets a peace deal where it's going to cost, I don't know how many billions of dollars, and gives them food, and gives them whatever, and he signs it, Congress is going to be pissed.
Paying North Korea has never worked, though. Ever. It's like you're paying a person with hostages. You're paying a terrorist.
So it's
the same thing as the pipeline. All you're doing is if you pay him, it's just, okay, next time I need money.
So the only way to beat North Koreans is to get the people on your side.
Into submission?
No, you have to get the people on your side. So the only reason we got East Berlin is because we dropped food, medical, anything. We dropped money for them.
We got to inspire the people
to basically start a revolution.
But it's a government-owned media. All the media is going to tell them is, look, Kim Jong-un, he cares about you so much. This is his care package. This is him doing.
Not when they see that American flag.
But they don't allow stuff like that. They don't allow social media in North Korea.
So they
don't allow.
So this is a true 1984 thing. Like they control what you hear, what you eat. There's no really room for free thinking.
There's no aspect of your life Kim Jong-un does not fundamentally control.
And part of that is because he knows that if he does, these people will revolt and kill him. There is no scenario where they revolt and they just kind of hold him prisoner.
Yeah, this is full French Revolution.
He will die a death.
Probably a very violent death.
Yeah.
And really, so will his whole family. Because his whole family's part of it.
Right.
Like, isn't his sister, the
his sister's more crazy than him.
Yeah.
The whole family is. The whole people in power. And part of that is that they're terrified if they give up power and they lose power, they will die. And they're right.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you've been a shitbag for that long.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying it's not justified.
You're right to be afraid.
Right.
That's the natural reaction.
Yeah.
When you shit on someone's face all day.
It's like, wow, I've been a real piece of shit.
Like, if I got someone chained up and I shat on him all day, if he got loose, I'm going to be afraid of what he's going to do to me.
Yeah.
Because what's probably going to happen is he's going to have some hope in himself that if he decides to do this, that he won't die. And unfortunately, I don't see that.
Yeah, no way now.
I see him being way too scared to do anything that may get him killed.
Yeah. I mean, I 110%.
So do we march U.S. troops in there? Like, what do we do?
Again, I think if we march troops, he's going to be the guy. He's going to launch nukes on himself.
Yeah, if we were going to march troops, we should have honestly probably never stopped.
The problem is at the time is basically you're fighting China, and China had the numbers.
That's true. And now China probably doesn't give a shit. Now, China would not stand for a U.S. power in Asia, though.
Yeah, they don't like our involvement with South Korea and Japan as it is.
Yeah. So, and...
Well, Chinese hate Japanese already.
So at that point, it all just becomes Korea. A South Korea, if we march troops in. Because we win. There's no scenario we go to war with North Korea and lose. Unless China backs them, of course.
We said that about Vietnam.
Yeah, this isn't
Vietnam.
And
the Middle East.
This isn't Vietnam or the Middle East anymore.
And Korea. To be fair, we mostly won Korea.
Yeah, to be fair, he got all the way to the fucking capital of South Korea before we stepped in.
And then we pushed him back.
We pushed him all the way back, and then China stepped in, and then it came the 35th parallel. Again, it just stalemated from there.
Well,
the problem is the UN needs to do its fucking job a lot better than what it's doing.
Well, the UN hasn't done its job for years.
UN doesn't have the power to do its job.
Not anymore, it doesn't.
And most countries prefer it that way.
Yeah, because we're all sovereign countries, and the UN is just a collective.
Right.
Yeah, but it keeps people like Hitler to come back to power.
Yeah. I mean...
when it does its job.
Or at least keeps them in check. So if, I fucking just said his name. Leader of North Korea.
Kim Jong-un?
Yeah, Kim Jong-un. If he decides, I'm going to suddenly expand into South Korea, the UN would be like,
oh, that is the most
the fuck? You are.
Yeah, that border is so heavily fortified on both sides.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, have you seen there's a video. It's basically the South Korean side. It's basically just a bridge, and all they do all day is stand there and look at each other.
Yeah.
And they just sit there, and it's like the guy goes, our favorite thing is to talk shit on them to their face, because we know that if they step foot on the bridge, we got more gunpowder than they do.
There's probably as much hostility between North and South Korea as there is between Palestine and Israel.
Oh yeah.
There's so they just hate each other.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So what the South Koreans will do, they'll start playing propaganda music, like American music, over their loudspeakers.
There you go.
And
love that.
And literally, there's literally a red phone to call on both sides that has never been called on either side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally, what the South Koreans do, they'll play jokes and they'll call them.
If they do,
like, hey, you want some pizza?
If they do denuclearize,
that's a huge win for Biden.
Oh yeah.
Complete denuclearization.
It's a Nobel Peace Prize.
Yeah.
You know, like that's. I mean, I'm not optimistic because it's not just that it's Biden; it's anybody getting them to denuclearize.
Nobody's convincing him to give up his nukes.
Exactly.
Would you take a child's toy?
Because he sees them as his only hope of
Well,
power.
he's right.
Oh yeah. This is the only reason we haven't went back. I mean,
you tried taking a giant child's
the only
toy
reason
and see how he feels.
That's the only reason South Korea hasn't marched their happy asses up there. Because, I mean, even if you had an army, they're super malnourished. Like, you can't... What are you going to do?
You don't have to be that energetic to pull a trigger.
No, you don't.
Or shoot missiles.
Yeah,
I mean, look,
you really do.
if North Korea and South Korea went to war, North Korea wins.
Really?
Yeah, with no U.S. support. Are you fucking kidding me? Absolutely.
Yeah, they
How do you
did.
figure?
They did
They're
last. They
one
did
of the
last.
top superpowers on the military superpowers, especially in fucking Asia. Are you fucking serious? Like,
And South Korea's not?
they invest not to the point they are.
Yeah,
they invest like 60-something% of their GDP, which isn't much. But fuck, South Korea doesn't do 2% of their fucking GDP.
Yeah, they kind of.
Well, they're backed by
Considering
the
how
US.
much
They need to.
considering how much their dollar's worth, their military spending probably is more than us. Like, they spend more percentage wise than we do on their military.
Well, yeah, percentage of GDP at least.
Yeah. But like it wouldn't probably even be that close, to be honest with you. Like, South Korea would put up a little bit of a fight, but I mean, we've seen this war before, and it didn't look very well until we stepped in. So the thing is, South Korea wouldn't lose because we eventually would step in.
Yeah, we wouldn't let...
Because that's one of our biggest allies over there.
Right.
I mean, next to Japan.
Japan, Taiwan, and
Man.
South Korea.
Meh. But I think that's about it on my list. We've got the economy. How do we feel about that? Lumber's still expensive.
Yeah, lumber's still expensive.
What
The
you got?
new jobs report hasn't come out. Oh, I do.
It won't for another month.
Yeah, I do want to point out that by the 1st of June, the Department of Defense is supposed to issue a statement to Congress regarding UFOs and the actual existence of unidentified flying aircraft that are on video from the U.S. military performing incredible feats that defy the laws of physics. And they are going to debrief Congress on it.
Garrett,
Live.
Garrett, it's CGI.
It's not CGI.
Boy, Hollywood does this all the time.
Have you looked into any of these? These are legit military encounters with UFOs. And to me, there's...
Garrett, you taking all your credibility and just pissed it away right
You
now.
also believe in Bigfoot.
Shut the fuck up, Bigfoot's real.
I like to believe there are still mysteries
Teddy
out there.
Roosevelt talked about it.
I want to believe, damn it. No, but all joking aside, the things these craft are doing... So there's only a couple possibilities. Because these craft are real physical craft. Being observed by U.S. military officials. Okay? Either there's another country out there that has got technology so advanced, we don't even know how it's doing what it's doing. It's defying literal laws of physics, the way it operates. Okay? There is a... That's if you want to say the most likely, that's the most reasonable, I guess. The second is that there is a breakaway human civilization, and if you don't know what a breakaway civilization is, imagine Atlantis to the ancient Greeks. Something just... A hidden civilization that is so far advanced of everything in the world that...
It could also be magic pixies that only show themselves on Fridays in the versions of
Okay,
high school girls with pink dresses.
You're making fucking jokes about this, but this is a real phenomenon.
No,
This is documented by the U.S. military.
Look,
I don't understand why it's a joke.
I was just
Garrett,
throwing
the
out
U.S. military in Vietnam say they fought the fucking orang pen deck in Vietnam.
The what?
It's a fucking Bigfoot, Vietnamese Bigfoot.
And the Viet Cong and the Vietnamese soldiers say they fought...
Bigfoot.
I don't understand how you can look at least the 3 most recent videos released and say, oh, this is totally just fucking fairy dust. Because what's your fucking explanation for a crap that defies the laws of physics? What is your fucking explanation for it? Because it's out there, and it's on camera.
So this is
What's it going to take?
So is the Loch Ness Monster, we know that motherfucker is just...
But that's not faked by the U.S. military. I
get just the Scottish!
I get so pissed off. People want to laugh this off. This is a real thing. This is... What? What are you fucking laughing at?
It's just, it's not aliens.
Okay, so what else is it then?
Okay, so that doesn't mean we get to just make up what it is.
I didn't even say it was aliens.
Garrett, do you believe the military soldiers that say they killed a giant in the Middle East? Or that they saw ghost... shadow people that they fought?
Why do we doubt them?
Because those things don't exist.
Yeah, because war sucks.
How do you... But this does exist. There is video of it. Multiple eyewitnesses.
And I have videos of the chupacabra.
But this isn't the chupacabra. This isn't a biological creature. This is something moving at speeds that we can't comprehend with modern aircraft. And then stopping on a dime.
Okay, so to be fair, I haven't seen these. So
are you serious?
No, I haven't seen these. I don't have time for conspiracies anymore.
This isn't a conspiracy theory. It's real. This is tangible. This is like I handed you a Bigfoot hand, and you said, "Oh, this is totally fairy dust."
Where's the tinfoil?
Well,
this isn't a tinfoil hat conspiracy. I'm telling you, and you can't call it that without having it at least.
Do we have the aircraft?
No, we don't have the aircraft.
Okay, look, I'll be sure
because they don't crash.
I'll leave a link in the description, but we're gonna go ahead and watch one of the videos right now. But is this one of the things about like a military scanner? Like, or is this like a video like you videotaping like a house? Like,
no, this is a military camera on an aircraft filming another aircraft.
Okay, and you're telling me that it just goes up and down, and the only possible explanation for that to you could be what?
This is CNN that I'm going to show you right now.
Let me see.
No, it's got an ad.
It's got an ad. Hold on, folks. We're sorry. All right, so we're going to go ahead and watch the video, so we may go away for the next few seconds.
Oh, it's got another fucking ad.
See, YouTube is getting bold with these double unskippable
I'll fight
ads.
that bitch. I'll fight that CEO.
Fravor still can't explain what he says he saw that day. November 2004, the Navy fighter pilot was on a training mission west of San Diego when he was ordered to check out something in the water not far away. On a clear day, over a smooth ocean, he saw the object, waves breaking over it, and says he saw something hovering above it.
It's randomly moving north, south, east, west, just random. Just stopping, going the other direction. Like you could do with a helicopter, but a little bit more abrupt. It looks like a 40-foot long tic-tac with no wings.
Fravor says he and his 4-man team tracked the object for several minutes until it just disappeared. Tonight, CNN has learned the Pentagon had a secretive program to research UFOs like the one Fravor spotted. The project was called the Advanced Aviation Threat Identification Program, run by an official named Luis Elizondo.
I think this is a national security imperative.
So I've seen the videos. Have we seen enough?
Yeah. Well, this doesn't even, like, it gets better. This thing rotates as it's traveling.
A defense official tells CNN.
See, but you know where you lost me? You lost me on the breakaway civilization.
And that's fine. But if another country had a technology this advanced, why isn't it the world's superpower?
How do we know it's not a drone?
Because drones can't move like
your
this.
implication is that technology makes you the world's superpower. We know that that's absolutely not true.
This is a level of manipulation of the physics of the universe that we can't control.
Drones can stop on dimes. They can go real fast and then just stop. And they can go up, down. They can go in all sorts of planes.
No. A military person is going to recognize a drone.
Not if it's one he's never seen before.
And this is one of 3 that have recently been released.
This 2004 is whenever that was. Whenever he saw it.
But they only recently got released.
Right, but I'm saying...
They got declassified.
So him seeing it in 2004 wouldn't really know what a drone is.
Yeah, he wouldn't.
Not if it's a newer drone. How do we know it's not a drone that's...
Drones are a fairly new thing. And I'm not saying that drones weren't around back then. I'm saying drones weren't nearly as common as you're thinking they were common. So where you lose me is whenever you go from something is flying and we don't know what it is. Okay, that's one thing. But you're implying that it's a breakaway ancient civilization, and I'm saying that my magical pink fairies or pixies were just as possible as the breakaway civilization. That's all I'm saying.
But the point is something. There is something tangible. Something real is out there doing things that the American military is like, how is this possible?
Right.
And it's not a single occurrence. It's at least 3 that have been declassified in the last year.
Okay. And so what does this mean? What do we do about it?
I don't know. We got to find out what the fuck it is first.
I think it's a drone.
Even if they find out what it is, do you think they're going to tell us?
Well, they are disclosing it to Congress, the whole investigation. So that part that they're talking about, the secret Pentagon program to investigate sightings like these, because these are not the only 3 sightings.
Mm-hmm.
There have been others that have not been declassified yet. But they're going to disclose it to Congress and open up about what's been going on. We should do, and this isn't the typical 1970s UFO case where J. Allen Hynek is saying it's swamp gas, it's a weather balloon. No, these people are saying, I don't know what this is, but whatever it is, shows a level of manipulation that we are not capable of. Mm-hmm. At least the U.S. military.
Okay.
So, if the U.S. military is not capable of it, then it implies there is either another country that has such a superior grasp on aircraft mechanics that they're doing things that, some of the maneuvers these craft are doing, physicists have looked at it and said a human can't sustain the G-forces. Like there's a white Tic Tac video. They had it going like several times the speed of sound and then just stop and then go in a different direction at the same speed. It's not possible.
Question: Could you hear the sound barrier break?
No.
Oh, I bet something just fucked up on the scanners.
No, this is so.
I'm willing to bet.
So you can't go any kind of Mach without breaking the sound barrier.
Exactly. That's the point.
So
they've also got these craft will submerge. They'll dive into the ocean, and then reappear, and take off into the air and disappear, just vanish. Which, if you know anything about craft, you can't have a submersible that's efficient in water that suddenly pops out and then darts off into the air.
Sounds
These are
like
different.
A load of barnacles.
Look at it. This is covered. CNN, Fox News, they're covering it.
Like bullshit.
Y'all are fucking. I can't.
Garrett, sounds like a whole lot of hoopla.
This is so irritating because I hear this from so many people.
Hoopla.
This is what I was talking about earlier. Evidence is staring you in the fucking face. Video evidence of amazing craft doing incredible things that can't be explained. And you're just like, nope, it's not real.
So
I think it's a drone.
Let's just be clear to the audience here. It was a black and white scanner video where you saw an object in the middle, like a black screen, or on a gray background, you saw a little black dot move around.
We're going to do the other ones then.
Because
show you
this one, it's not like you saw a UFO out at night with shining lights.
All I picture is no offense to that one guy from Ancient Aliens.
It's infrared. Okay, here we go. These are all 3 of the
Did they do thermal?
Videos.
Did they ever do thermal?
This is infrared. So, I don't know what else they shot it with.
Thermal would probably be better, because that shows if it's a heat source or not.
Yeah, okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pause the podcast, and then we'll come back whenever we watch the full video, okay? So we'll be right back. Alright, so we just got done watching all 3 of the leaked videos, and I gotta say, honestly, I'm not impressed. It's not like you got a Bigfoot hand that we're like looking under a microscope to make sure it's a Bigfoot hand. It's literally just an infrared video of them tracking a dot on a screen. Like, to me, that means nothing.
I'll give you, Garrett. It's interesting. The things it does is interesting, but I just think, again, it's a drone.
Yeah, I mean, if I was high, this would be a really interesting conversation, and I'd probably be on your side. But, given probability, I mean, it's probably nothing.
Okay. I'm done having the argument. Like,
Garrett, I love you.
For what it's worth, I want to believe too, but I just can't.
Garrett, you're being really
He's very pissed right now.
I am, because you can't even entertain. You won't even expand your brain enough to entertain the possibility that something is going on here, even though people are saying they're.
Look, I have no problem with you
Yeah,
saying...
you fucking do. Yeah, you do, because
I have a problem
both
with what?
of you
I
are
didn't
sitting here
finish my
making
sentence.
fun of me.
I didn't even finish my sentence.
I don't know what it is you have a fucking problem with, but you're both sitting here making fun of me because
I don't
I'm
have
seeing
a
this.
problem with you seeing something like that and saying, we don't know what it is, let's have questions about it. Where you lost me was whenever you
Because
started
these things
posing stuff that we have no evidence in, and then at that point you're just, at
Then
that
what
point
is
it's just
your-
make-believe.
What is your answer?
I don't have to have an answer. That's
Yeah, you do.
No, it's
to laugh at
science is a beautiful thing. We can say I don't know and it's okay.
But to laugh
no
at
one
my
listens.
proposed hypothesis while you're saying, "Oh no, that's definitely not it," but I don't have any suggestions.
imagine-
I think it's a drone. I think it's a drone.
I can't imagine you being around in the 8th century and someone says that the world is on top of a turtle shell and I say, I don't think so. And then you say, well, what is your explanation, jackass? No, that's not how anything works, and we shouldn't pretend that that's how conversation works. Like, just because...
No, conversation apparently works by you just laughing at people's ideas and views
If
on
you
other...
throw out something outrageous, yes.
Garrett, we do this with the
Okay.
QAnon people.
Yes.
Like, Garrett, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. I have no idea what it is. I don't think it's aliens.
We don't have to just automatically... Whenever we don't know something, we don't have to just accept the most outrageous possible explanation for it.
So how else would a craft be here that defies different laws of physics?
We don't know. And that's okay. We can investigate it. I wouldn't mind knowing what it is. And I'm curious to know what the investigation, or what the debriefing shows. But I'll tell you what it's not going to show, and that's outrageous alien stuff.
Do you know that for sure?
I don't know that for
Garrett,
sure.
Garrett, how about this? If it comes out and they say aliens, I will buy you a $1,000 hooker.
No, if you're both
I'll
gonna
suck you
eat
off
your
myself.
fucking words.
I will suck
So
you
what's
off
going to
myself.
happen if in a few months they come back and they say this was nothing, these were just, failures in our scanners? You're going to say that the government is hiding something, are you?
Because you're talking multiple failures, and the craft were witnessed by eyewitnesses flying. They're not just... The recordings are on camera, but the eyewitnesses put eyes on it too. And these are military pilots.
Do they ever describe what they see? Like what? Like
Yes!
People see Bigfoot, too.
But not military pilots
that's not true.
who've spent 20 years in the fucking air, looking at other aircraft, noticing how they maneuver.
And they're the ones, they're not coming out and saying that this is aliens. Right?
Where was this over?
It's
Like what?
unidentified aerial phenomenon
What-
is the actual terminology
Right.
used by the Air Force
So
and the Navy.
What? Where was this taken?
So I know one of them was off the coast of California. The other one was the one I was just looking at was off the coast of San Diego. That's the one that plops down into the water, comes back up, and then just starts going off.
Mm-hmm.
The Tic Tac, the little tiny one, I think was in the Gulf of Mexico. The one that was moving really fast and then stopped and then moved again really fast.
So to Garrett's benefit, unless it's Mexico, I don't see it being Mexico being the one making these crafts. So
Look, I'm not. These craft aren't doing things that the Pentagon says we're capable of.
Mm-hmm.
you think the Pentagon told you about the stealth bomber when we were inventing it? No, they don't.
Do you think that we have advanced to a level of technology where G-force no longer applies on spacecraft?
If we don't have a pilot, then yes. If there's no one affected by
Well,
G-force,
it would still affect the spacecraft.
it would
Yeah.
affect the spacecraft, but not as much as it would the pilot.
So in other words, Nick, you can't drive a car at like 1G and then just stop on a dime.
That's
And then-
not how physics works.
Right, because
It'll shatter.
the structure of the car would break down. Right.
Well, it's kind of like, what is it, like, I think for one of the fastest cars in the world, the reason it can only go so many miles per hour is not because it can't, it's because if you do, the tires explode.
Right.
Because if you go
But
1
there are
mile
certain
over...
factors that make aircraft capable of doing certain things. But these things don't seem to follow those rules.
So what do you think is more likely out of the two?
I don't know. I don't know what is more likely. And my third possibility was aliens. But
What would they be?
I mean, I think it's unlikely that the U.S. military would be uninformed of another technological superpower like this. If China, because really it's going to be China. If China had an aircraft capable of this, I think military intelligence.
Did they say how big it was?
They have measurements.
40 meters?
I think the one that turns is like 40 meters long.
40 meters. I'm trying to think. What is that? 12 feet?
40 meters? A meter's is a yard.
Oh, okay. So I'm thinking times 3 then, right?
Yeah.
So 120 feet long. Okay. Roughly. Okay.
Turning while traveling and then stopping and turning completely sideways.
131 feet.
Okay. I mean, that's not nothing. I mean, that's 40 yards, right?
Right.
40-something yards.
That's a big-ass fucking craft.
Yeah, no, that's impressive, but I'm just saying, like, we don't even know that it's an aircraft yet. We don't know if it's
Well,
just
it's in the sky.
We don't even... Well, I mean, you showed me an infrared thing. That could be a fuck-up thing on the scanners for all I know.
But it's taken from an aircraft in the sky. You can see the clouds in the background.
Right, I understand that. CGI is a beautiful thing.
So I think the military is CGIing UFOs.
Well, I'm saying... Well, what's more likely? That or interdimensional vampire child molesters?
But again, the pilot put eyes on it, too. The pilot is also seeing the craft.
I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying, going off probability... I mean...
So 40 meters is an average size for a plane. I don't know most planes that just stop on a dime.
Not like a U.S. air jet, right? Not like a commercial...
Commercials top out at 262 feet.
Okay.
Commercial airplanes.
This is a large craft doing things that craft do not do.
So I think the biggest thing we should come from this, instead of assertions, is questions.
My hypothesis... Again, it either has to be another human civilization, another superpower, has a level of technology that we don't understand. Okay? Or there is something else going on. Whether it be aliens, breakaway civilization, whatever. It is either other humans keeping this technology a secret from every other government on the planet, or something very odd is going on.
Right, and I don't have a problem with the question, but what we shouldn't do is assert what this thing is.
I didn't say it was this. I said it is tangible, it is being witnessed, and we have evidence of it.
So, was there any description?
We don't have evidence of what it is, though.
We have evidence that it exists, and the maneuvers that it's capable of are not...
But we don't even know what it is.
Did the pilot ever describe what it looked like?
Something moving at Mach speeds through the sky and turning.
So, again, did the pilot ever say what he saw? Did he see what looked like a normal airplane?
The pilots say they don't know what it is.
But they never describe it.
I mean, they described... So, the one that I showed you, the one that's going right over the ocean, it was a little white-shaped tic-tac object.
So, no wingspan, no nothing.
No wings. It looked like a tic-tac.
So, no...
And that was eyewitnessed by 2 pilots.
So, no clear sign of propulsion.
No. And so, I can't remember where I saw it. Probably on Fox News, because Tucker Carlson's been covering this a lot lately, too. But he had somebody on it, and the one that I showed you pivoting, there was a physicist who came on and said, so you're looking at an infrared. Now, these are what the different colors mean in infrared. Now, this is what we would expect to see with typical craft, is the heat coming off here, the heat, dissipating and colder here.
Now, how high was it?
It's actually colder near the center of the craft. The closer you get to it, the colder it is. The higher temperatures are away from it. And he's like, it's almost like there's something keeping it away from the craft. Like either a skin you can't see, a force field, something is keeping the heat away from where it's supposed to be. And it's actually colder where all the power should be.
So how high was this in the sky?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know what the...
Because was it over water?
I believe all the ones I've seen are over water, yes.
And they dive down?
Only one that I've seen dives down into the water.
It could be a sub. It could be a sub. It may be a military
Not going
thing.
at Mach 1, though.
Subs are pretty fast. I mean...
Not sound barrier fast through water.
Granted, if
they don't have the recorded speed through water.
Granted, I'll give them... A jet will be able to catch a sub like that. A jet could catch a sub no problem. So that's my only issue. If a jet can't keep up with it, it's pretty... I don't know what jet... I don't know what jet they're using. Whether it's the latest, greatest...
So the ones... It was a training exercise with the one with the little white one that was going over the ocean. And they flew out, and they were planning a training exercise, and then radar at base got a ping of this. And they're like, there shouldn't be anything out there we're planning on running anyway. Why don't y'all go out and investigate? And they come out and investigate, and they're like, what the fuck is this thing? And then it's just... zzz, and off it goes. And they just happened to record it. And they tracked it for a while before it vanished. And that's another thing. These things just vanish. They disappear from radar. They disappear from eyesight. They disappear from camera. They're gone.
So my only thing between that is a signal jam of some kind. You encounter something, kind of like the Bermuda Triangle. You encounter a field of electromagnetism that you lose all signal. Amelia Earhart went through. That's where she got lost.
But concentrated on a specific craft, so that
you're talking
about cloaking.
That's exactly how they lost Amelia Earhart. Is they couldn't track her. She just went off radar.
But they're also disappearing from eyesight.
I mean,
from cameras, from infrared cameras.
Or do they just blip out of existence, or do they go behind clouds?
Well, you see them, so it's here, and then it goes, and it's gone. So it goes in a direction. Well, one of them even goes vertical. Straight up, gone.
Now, we got jets that do that. We do have jets that literally, they'll just tip on the back and they'll go straight up.
But stationary and off.
Yes, they'll literally just go and they'll just go, they'll literally go forward and just go.
They're meant to, propel directly up?
So what they'll do is they'll go up.
I don't know how that works.
And they'll literally do like this. And they'll go straight up.
Oh, so they almost okay.
They do a kind of a half U, just straight up.
Okay, but that's not vertical. You understand? This is not that.
Who's to say they're just doing that? How do you say they're just not?
Because it's on camera. It is on camera going...
From a different angle.
But if
so if I'm looking at it like this...
I guess if it was going forward...
If I'm looking at it like this, I'm never going to see it do this. I'm just going to see it go up.
Something very strange is going on.
Let's do this, and this will round up the podcast. Okay, so what do we... If you had to bet let's say you had to bet your house on it, what would you bet it was?
If I had to bet my house on it?
Yeah, hypothetically.
Goddamn. I mean, probably the most likely is that someone has gotten a giant leap forward. I mean, so the Nazis did. The Nazis had a giant leap forward on aircraft.
Yeah, they invented jets.
And not a small, we were still using fucking propeller planes, and they invented jets. And the only reason we even caught up is because we saw what they were doing and be like, we gotta reverse engineer that.
We saw the Luftwaffe and holy shit.
I'm not totally disregarding other possibilities, but probably if I had to bet my house on it, the most likely is that some country has developed a technology that we just we don't understand.
Getting ballsy if they're flying that close to the U.S.
Yeah, but when you're doing the kind of... when you've got the kind of control they do, what do you have to fear? You can outrun their jets in the blink of an eye. What, are they even going to be able to...
What do you think, Nick? If you had to bet your house on it.
I mean, I'm homeless, so I got nothing to lose. I mean, I'm like with Gary. I don't know what it is. So, it being the size of a standard airplane, doing what it is doing it's unlikely it could stay apart or stay together. I mean, I say that, so even our jets go for Mach 1, and they don't stop on dimes necessarily, but they do slow down. But...
Mid-air?
It's hard to see from a footage, without seeing in my eyes, it just stopping and not slowing down. It just doesn't appear to be. So the camera could play tricks. Now, if it's what the pilots are seeing, I have a little problem if they just see it, it just goes stops.
If I had to bet my house on it, for sure for me would just be an advanced American aircraft that was out on a test run. You know, that's why we don't see them too often, I would imagine. And they fly them at night. Because
again, to me, it's like
that's the most likely.
But then why does the Pentagon open investigations into the reports?
To make it look like they're doing something that they think. So like when we were venting the stealth bombers, we told no one. We didn't even tell our own Air Force because the chance of it getting leaked was very high.
Yeah, so like let's pretend, for example, we do have the technology to start and stop on a dime on Mach 1. Do you really want to admit to your entire military, which is essentially going to get leaked to the rest of the world, do you really want to admit that you have that technology available?
At the time?
I mean, wouldn't it further your military superiority?
Until someone else finds out.
How would it further your military superiority telling the rest of the world what's capable?
I mean, it's like telling the rest of the world that you've got a nuclear bomb.
Yeah,
and then they start building nukes.
Yeah, and then Russia's like, oh, that's how you did it.
So you if no one knows you have it.
But they wouldn't even be able to well, I guess if one country understood it and then the other countries found out, they would just fully apply themselves to catch up.
Yep, I'm willing to bet that's all this is. But I don't know that they'll tell us that.
It didn't take Russia long to follow suit with a nuclear bomb of their own.
But they also got half the German scientists, though, who were already working on it.
Fair enough, but...
I mean, we got the good ones.
I would argue that's not true, because the Russians made bigger ones.
Yeah, we made them faster, though. And we also developed the hydrogen bomb first.
Yeah, but the Tsar bomb is still the biggest bomb to detonate.
Yeah, but a big bomb's a big bomb's a big bomb. We developed the new tech first.
But their bomb is bigger, so they can cover.
But once I know that C4 go boom, then it's easy for me to say more C4 make bigger boom. The complicated part is getting C4 to go boom.
No, the complicated part is getting the atoms to split just right to make.
That's the C4 going boom.
That's the analogy.
So, yeah.
Okay. Well, so.
Like I said, Garrett, I'm not going to totally dismiss the idea that something that we don't know.
I'm going to dismiss the idea that it's aliens.
My question is, say it is aliens, what do they want? Do you really think they care? Because to us, we'd be primitive people. We'd be like chimpanzees.
Well, that may not necessarily be true. But we can get into aliens on a different podcast.
If they can travel light years...
Okay, well, if we're going to do an aliens podcast, we'd better do a Pixie Fairy podcast, okay?
Why, are you gay or something? You've been talking about pixies.
Yeah, you're real fascinating.
No, in all honesty, aliens are probably, for sure exist.
Yeah, it's just a matter of can they get here from other star systems.
If they can, we're no match to them.
Yeah.
Right. I'm just saying, this is an infinite universe. They probably exist. They actually...
The odds are in their favor.
Almost certainly do.
Yeah.
We don't know if they're intelligent, but they don't have to be aliens. They just got to be life.
Right.
But
multicellular life of some sort.
Mexico's
there's unicellular life. They could be anything.
Mexican's full of them.
But
yeah.
Damn.
Nice.
It's a joke. But
okay, all right. Well, anything rounding thoughts for the podcast?
I saw Bigfoot the other day.
Nice.
It's a guy.
Did you look in a mirror?
No, it's a guy we call at work. He's just really tall and really hairy. We call him Bigfoot.
Nice.
He hates it.
All right, Garrett, anything?
Nope, that's it.
Just
keep an eye on the sky, fellow believers. Don't be like these pricks.
Gary, you think the Earth is in the center of the universe too?
Oh,
the sun revolves around it?
No.
Then shut the fuck up.
I was just trying to see how far the reality denial went.
You think the Earth is flat, Garrett?
Garrett, do you think it was Aquaman and Batman having a test drive on the new
Batman? It might have been, okay? I want to believe Aquaman.
You're literally describing shit that was in DC movies!
God damn. Alright.
Alright, well, this is going to be the end of us. Alright, we'll talk to y'all later. This has been the Refined Peasants.
Hey guys, thanks for listening. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that little notification bell in the corner, and be sure to let us know if you guys have any ideas for what you want to see from us next. We're a new upcoming podcast. Share it with your friends if you're confident.